Well, hey guys. So today we're going to be talking about a really cool tool that Adobe Illustrator has. And in this particular project, we're going to be using both Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. Now, the idea here is this. Basically, whenever you draw something with ink, once upon a time, what you had to do then, like if you draw something with like ink and paper, what you had to do then was you had to use your line tools and use your shape tools to sort of trace over it inside Adobe Illustrator. But now what they have is what they call sort of a smart trace. Essentially, they take the various colors and they sort of break them down into different sort of objects and then sort of unify them together into a single group. So what we're going to do now is at some point you can take a piece of paper, we got markers in the back, we got pens, and you can either draw a little doodle or you can maybe do something in your own handwriting that you want to do, some sort of artful lettering. And then what you'll do is you'll take a picture of it with one of the cameras and just sort of load it to your computer. Now I have here, let's see if I can find this, under pictures, let's look, I have here this ink sketch I did of no one in particular, and the thing is, whenever you take a picture, you know, in sort of uneven lighting that we have here, you're going to find some sort of like dark areas and light areas, and it's going to be sort of a you know, shadowy kind of white here instead of a pure white, and we want this to be as close to black and white as we possibly can get it. So that's why we open it up in Photoshop. So we just go here, go to Photoshop, and I'll just open up this right here, the sketch that I had ready made. And remember the tool we use whenever we want to isolate the black and the white is we go to Image, Adjustments, and Threshold. And it turns everything black or white, depending on how close they are to black or white. Now, in this case, it looks a little pixelated. Once we get in close, it looks a little pixelated because I think this was a cell phone picture that I took a screenshot of. So it's not the most high quality. Obviously, when you put this in with a picture that you took off of one of the DSLR cameras, it'll be a lot higher quality. Now, we could save this and import this, but an easier way of doing this would just to be to copy and paste it. So let's go ahead and zoom out, and what we'll do is we'll just select everything here, and we'll just Control C, and we'll open up Adobe Illustrator. I'll make a new thing. This is what I did with that little circle design that I did before. I just outlined the text, and then I put a little graphical element here, and I put the stars on the outside and stuff. And we might be able to use this later. Let's just make a new document here, and just any document will do. And once we have that, we'll just Control V, and it'll show up there. Now, if I go to Object and I go to Image Trace, I can just say Make, and it'll turn it from the sort of pixelated sketch into this vector. It's going to be all smooth and stuff. And now what we'll have, though, is just an image that has both the white and the black, you know, kind of there. So let me just move this out to the side here so I can sort of see what I'm doing. Now what we gotta do is we have to go to Object Expand. The idea with Expand is that you've got both a fill and a stroke, and you want to separate the ideas here. In this case, what we have is an image trace. This image trace is its own element in and of itself. It can be edited as an image trace, but it can't be edited beyond that. So in order to separate them into different parts, we have to go to Expand. So we press Expand, we just press OK, and now we have the various parts that we can kind of hover over, and we can sort of select isolated from each other. In order to further isolate them, we have to go to Object, Ungroup, and then from there, when we click on various parts, we can kind of move these parts around. Once again, let me just go to Object, Ungroup one more time, and we should be able to move them around here. So now we have this sort of separated here, and I can just take this right here, delete this, and I can just one by one delete the various white areas, the various fill areas. So we're left with this stroke, this sort of pen drawing that I did here. So from here we can just do a number of things. We can change the fill, we can change various things. We can actually apply a stroke to it if we wanted to. Say for instance, make like a white stroke around everything, or even like a, you know, something like that. We could do that as well. Sort of beef up the stroke and stuff. Obviously, you know, depending on what you were looking for, you could do something else. If you wanted to, say, for instance, add some more graphical elements to this, you could. If you wanted to sort of like add a little ellipse to the side, something like this, then you have it maybe a different color, like a green or something like that, and just Control Shift open bracket to kind of put it down. You could obviously do that as well. If you wanted to, you know, if you wanted to fill in the various parts with different colors, you could. Oops. Make sure, let's actually do this over here. Let's actually group all this together. Now that we have these various parts, we can Control G, group that together. And what's interesting about this is if, for instance, your lines don't, like the lines over here for my eye don't connect. So if I were to like maybe go in here with my Direct Select tool and grab the eye and the eyebrow and the lower part of the eye here, I could conceivably lower them down to be a better fit. That's a neat little thing you could do. Okay, so with this done, you know, like I said before, you could use this in any number of ways, like any object you have. So for instance, if I wanted to take this right here, Control C, and maybe paste it in here, Control V, and just sort of shrink it down. Hold on Shift to constrain it whenever you maybe resize anything. Maybe position it right here, in the center of our circle. There we go. And once again, I can just hold down Shift, select both, get my shape builder tool, and just, I'll zoom in here real quick. One by one, Alt click the various areas of the drawing to have this show up as an element of this whole design, right? So here, you know, just again, this is a neat little tool that Adobe Illustrator has that you can use in conjunction with Photoshop, or if you had a good scan, obviously this would work as well. All right, so can't wait to see you guys produce. Just if you want to take this and just turn it into the little live drawing, the little image trace, you can, and just put that in there. If it's just lettering, you can put lettering in. If you wanted to do something to the effect of, like, you know, putting it on something else. The idea is you just make it your own. You just do your own thing with it using this technique. All right, well, can't wait to see you guys produce.